Comedy Songs by Christine Brandel. When the British comedy group Monty Python toured the United States in the 1970s, they claimed they were treated like rock stars. And this is probably because the American public had not really seen anything like them. Young, not incredibly ugly men singing hilarious songs that sounded like contemporary music. There is something essentially British about the comedy song. It comes from a long tradition. But do not fear, you don't have to be born in Blighty to write a good British comedy song. The simple key is to surprise your listeners. You can choose any subject you want, just make sure you throw something unusual in there. The classics are the ones which manipulate the listeners into expecting one thing and then shock them with another. One of the most famous British comedy songs is the Lumberjack song by the Monty Python Boys. In it, the singer says, "I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay," and discusses his life of cutting down trees and chopping wood. But he then admits, "I cut down trees, I skip and jump, I like to press wildflowers, I put on women's clothing and hang around in bars." Listeners, as well as his girlfriend, are quite surprised. Rolf Harris sang a moving song in the 60s about the tragic life of Jake the Peg. What made him unusual was that he had 3 legs. He sang, "The day that I was born, my father nearly died. He couldn't get my nappies on, no matter how he tried. Because I was born with an extra leg, and since that day begun, I had to learn to stand on my own 3 feet. Poor Jake. If you fancy writing a love song, that too can be done. Benny Hill told a classic story of love rivals in Ernie the Fastest Milkman in the West. Although the story sounds like a classic Western film, his rival kills Ernie, not in a showdown, but by attacking him with cakes. It ends with, "A rock cake caught Ernie underneath his heart, and he looked up in pained surprise, and the concrete-hardened crust of a stale pork pie caught him in the eye, and Ernie bit the dust." You could create a new dance, but don't base it on anything graceful. The Goodies comedy group had 5 hit singles in 12 months in the 70s, and one was the Funky Gibbon, which instructed listeners to drop one arm down by your knees, let the other arm reach up to the trees, now let your wrists go limp like a bent baboon, and get ready to sing this Gibbons tune. If all else fails, you can also resort to writing a nonsense song. It needs to sound like any other song, with verses and a chorus, but the surprise is that it needn't make any sense. The Goons, a British comedy troupe, sang this. "I've got those when I say I trust you, I don't want to be drowned, 'cause I do not like those kind of game blues. I don't like naughty tricks that go sploogey splat. They say harm can come to a young lad like that. And I do not like explosions that blow me back for Christmas, out of my Seaside bell-bottom shoes. I don't like being wetted by nasty April showers. And I do not like being nutted by Eiffel and Blackpool towers. So I do not want to be drowned, nutted, deaded, hitted, splattered, pledded. I don't like that kind of type blues. I don't like that. I've got them blue bottle blues." So now that you know the secret of British comedy songs, give it a try. No musical talent is needed. If you can't write a tune, simply use the tune of another song. If you can't sing in tune, that's even better.
Hey, baby!